Hello, this is Rick Davidson and Bill Thompson. Today we find ourselves at the Red Hill Cemetery in Moultonborough, New Hampshire, as part of a series of revisiting the graves that we wrote about in our upcoming book, Buried in New Hampshire. We're visiting the actor Claude Rains today. Let's go take a look. This is Claude's grave. One of the things you notice is there are some remembrances, I guess you could call them, at the bottom of the grave. British flag, because he was born in England. And on the left, if you look closely, you can kind of see the remnants of an old video, which was The Invisible Man, which was one of Claude Rains' most famous films. When Bill and I were working on the book, what did we come up with? We had 116 different grave sites that we visited, and we did know that we wanted to share the writing of each article that we wrote, and as it turns out, it came out to be about 50-50. I happen to write about Claude, so I'm going to take a few of the facts that I got from the article, and when we get to some of the graves that Bill wrote about, he will be featured a little more, as I probably will be today. Claude Rains lived from 1889 to 1967, and as we said earlier, this is the Red Hill Cemetery in Center Harbor, New Hampshire. Moultonborough.
Moultonborough, Rick.
I guess I missed it. The article says Center Harbor. Must have gotten that from somewhere.
Close, yes. We turned in Center Harbor.
But both of us, obviously, we were attracted to Claude as an actor in any case. But to tell you the truth, the movie I think both of us really pick up on, it was Casablanca, where he played Captain Renault. Where he decides to round up the usual suspects and join the resistance against the Nazis. And he helps Lisa, who was played by Ingrid Bergman, to escape. And of course, Humphrey Bogart was Rick Blaine, which is a classic movie. But he's not buried very far from where we live, which is maybe 20 minutes at the most, I think. Claude was nominated for Academy Award 4 times, including Casablanca. He won a Tony, a Drama League Awards, and again was nominated for a Grammy. Not too bad for a man who grew up in poverty in London. And one of the ironies with his career is that he had a stutter. And not only did he overcome that stutter in front of the camera, but he was known for his voices. And in fact, the Invisible Man, which is the movie that many remember him for, he played a part where his voice was more important than his physical being, because actually for some of the great part of the movie, he was invisible. He did work with some of the greatest directors of all time, and Betty Davis was a particular friend. And what did she remark? Claude was witty, amusing, and beautiful, really beautiful, thoroughly enchanting to be with, and brilliant. Judging from the mementos that I told you about here earlier, there are people who apparently do remember him for Invisible Man. The DVD here is not of Casablanca.
No, sadly.
But I think for Bill and I, that was the movie we remembered. Let me just give you a couple of examples. I apologize for reading, but it's a lot to remember. He played Angel on My Shoulder, where he plays the devil. He was in another movie, which unfortunately I can't remember right now, where he played actually an angel. So kind of a broad range there. Greatest story ever told, from 1965, he played Herod. Seahawk, he starred with Errol Flynn. Phantom of the Opera, he played the Phantom. He was in Lawrence of Arabia. He also was a major part in The Wolfman. He was King John in The Adventures of Robin Hood.
Yes.
I think that was with Errol Flynn too, but I'm not absolutely
so.
sure. Notorious, Hitchcock movie. Played with James Stewart. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And of course the police chief in Casablanca and The Invisible Man. And here he is in Moultonborough,
New Hampshire.
Yeah. So actually this is something that is in our book, and I think it's an important part of that book because he was really quite an actor for his time.
Claude actually served in the English Army during World War I. He was severely wounded in a gas attack, lost about 90% of his eyesight in his right eye. He rose to the rank of captain. This is from a poor boy that grew up in the streets of London. Like I said, he ended up as a captain. He was nominated 4 times for Best Supporting Actor, and yet never won.
No, sometimes that's the way it goes, I think.
I guess it's a curiosity of why he ended up in the quiet town of Moultonborough. And he actually did live over in Sandwich, but he was a gentleman farmer, had a tremendous interest in farming, and I believe I think he was married 6 times.
I believe it was 6 times.
The last one being Rosemary.
But I also read that it wasn't because he was a terrible husband, but he just made the wrong choices a number of times. Because apparently, you might go to, was he mean or something? And everything I've read about him was
I've never heard anybody say an unkind word about the man. He really was a good man. But he had a farm in Pennsylvania for quite a while, and then he did move here for where he ended out his years and lived in the little town of Sandwich, and then ended up being buried here, not that far, in Moultonborough. He designed his own tombstones.
That's true too, yes. Which are quite unique.
Yes, which are unique, and we've been plagued because the reflectiveness of this does not photograph well. No. So today we've actually had a pretty good day without the reflection. So. But they're beautiful tombstones, and they do, if you want, pun, I guess, but they reflect upon the man's uniqueness and his artistic talents.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, when you walk in the gate there, the first thing you see, this is one of the ones where we had no problem finding the graves.
Yes.
And it's not a big cemetery, but you walk right in and you see these 2 really nicely done gravestones. Well, I think we've covered Claude. We will be going to some other cemeteries. This could be the start of a
good friendship.
Hopefully not the end.
Well, you got to get the Rick in there.